Good morning, gorgeous souls. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I'm so excited to be back in this group, back doing lives every week with the Soul Wealth Show. If you haven't heard me talking about soul wealth, pop over to the guide section. I've already put some videos in there that I got from my YouTube channel, really that I did about soul wealth, what it actually is, and how, when we choose to stop drinking or consuming sugar or just living more consciously and intentionally, we really are standing in soul wealth when we learn to make these conscious choices. And this is going into all life areas. And my God, I am just so passionate about this because this is what the wellness tree represents. So the wellness tree is the methodology that I use with my clients. It came to me when I first quit drinking, not as this amazing methodology, but something that was started as seeds, as breadcrumbs to follow on my own journey. And I've just learned so much, and the wellness tree is growing with me as I grow on my journey, along with you, all of us together. Our wellness trees are all growing with us. It's just amazing. However, today I want to talk about alcohol freedom and sugar freedom, what it actually means, because this is so important. One of the things that I discovered when I first quit drinking in 2016, that's when I first started my sober journey. Years before that, I'd been trying to stop drinking. I was stuck in the never-ending cycle of day ones. Every Monday was a day one. And then 5th of September 2016, I was like, right, I literally had this kind of wake-up call from my new husband telling me, Kath, you've just got to do something about your drinking. He wasn't urging me to give up, he just wanted me to kind of sort myself out. But I knew I was done with moderation. I tried it, it was bloody hard work, and in the end I thought, I just want to forget about alcohol. I just want it gone. And so I started my journey then. I've shared this more in the Soul Wealth video, What is Soul Wealth? And you'll find that in the guide section where I talk about this in a deeper way. I go into my journey a lot more. But then it was a very imperfect journey. I had a few drinking experiments, which I've always shared about. And I believe that's so important because it's not always a perfect journey. Yes, there are people that can stop drinking and they never ever touch a drop. My grey area drinking coach was an example of this. She literally stopped drinking longer than me. I'm not sure how long she has been sober for, but she literally hadn't touched a drop in years, which is incredible. But I did, and many people do. And for me, it wasn't like, oh my God, I need a drink. It's like, let me just see if I can do it. And I did that at the end of my first year sober. I thought, I wonder if I've got this now. I wonder if I can go back and have a glass of wine or two and just be really kind of careful with it. And I tried it. And while maybe I could, it just didn't feel right. It felt, do you know, actually what really shocked me was the pull to drink more was still there. It was like nothing had changed. And I did that for a few days and I thought, no, and I did that a couple of other times. But I actually haven't had any alcohol in the last 4 years. And that's when I lost my dad really, really suddenly. And I was kind of just navigating through that. And I did have a bit of a fuck it moment. Sorry, shouldn't swear. But I really just thought, like, this just feels so hard and I needed that release. However, wouldn't recommend it. It just really confirmed as to why I am on this path. And so I then began this sugar freedom journey, and trying to keep this on track, I really want to talk today about what alcohol freedom and sugar freedom actually is. Now, this will mean different things to each person here. I absolutely, firmly, to the core of my being, believe we are all divine souls here on this planet, in this human body, learning our lessons, having our human experience, navigating through life, and we're growing, we're healing, we're learning, and we have the most incredible opportunity to really do the things that we want to be doing. And what so often happens is we get caught in the way society is set up now to live fast, busy, distracted, numbing out. Everybody's drinking, it's the best thing to do, blah, blah, blah. We're taught to be powerless, to be, caught in this trap. And I have been there so many times with alcohol, with food, sugar, scrolling out on my phone, smoking as many cigarettes as possible, drinking loads of coffee, spending too much money, etc., etc. And so when I did choose to quit alcohol and really, step away from it, I didn't want it in my life. That to me was alcohol-free living, and it was freedom. Now, freedom means many different things to people. We can have freedom in our health, freedom in our finances, freedom in, all different life areas. And so that is at the roots of alcohol freedom. Now, I'm going a bit all over the place here, and I'm trying to kind of structure this in so that it makes sense. So please ask me any questions. I'll pop in the group and answer them later. Send me a private message. So let me share with you how it's playing out for me. Alcohol freedom to me feels like not drinking alcohol. And that comes from a place of not, oh my God, I mustn't drink, it's just really awful and I hope I don't drink. No, it's that I choose not to drink alcohol because I know I feel so much better without it. Life has opened up so much more, and I really care about my health. Like so many of us here, we have the same things, and I don't miss the sleepless nights, and I don't miss the hangovers, I don't miss the anxiety and the bad moods and the terrible skin and the just feeling dreadful about myself and the guilt and the hiding and the secrecy, and I don't miss that at all. And the freedom in that is showing up every day, in this empowered state of I don't even think about not drinking anymore. I don't think about alcohol. And it might pop in as a thought sometimes on a sunny day if I'm in a pub garden with my husband, we're having lunch out somewhere and I see people drinking, and I might see that and I might think, oh, I wish I could do that. But that's all it is. It's a fleeting thought, and I don't actually wish I could do that because life is so much better without it. So alcohol freedom to me means I choose not to have alcohol in my life. That's just how it is. Now, I also want to talk about something which it feels like truth to me. It feels like I need to talk about it, and it feels a bit like, oh my gosh, should I really talk about this? Because this kind of goes against what I've been shown, what I've been taught in grey area drinking and things like this. And to me, this just shows the vastness of grey area drinking and the spectrum of where people are. Now, I had a client, I worked with a client who was already sober. She wasn't drinking, but she came to me originally for some support with staying on track, because she was feeling a bit wobbly and she really wanted to get back in touch with why she was doing this and just kind of anchor her roots, put her roots down more into herself, and just really kind of concrete that. So we worked together for a little while and she was doing great. She did her coaching sessions, she went off and all was fine, and then out of the blue she messaged me maybe like a year or so later, saying she was actually thinking about experimenting with some alcohol. And she was telling me this, she kind of sent me this really long, beautiful message, which when I read it, I felt she had written that from her heart, from her soul, from truth. And remember, this is for her. Now, I'm not sharing this to trigger anybody, but also I think this is really valuable lessons for us to really know what's true for us, and to really stand in our own power as well. And she said to me that she wanted to just see if she could experiment with drinking now and again, just having a glass with her husband. However, she wanted to do it in a way that was very carefully structured. She didn't want to just have a few drinks, but she really wanted to bring some conscious intention to this. And this is really, I believe, really, really important. And she asked me, would I help her with that? Now, at first I was a bit like, oh, I don't know. I've always been a sober coach. I've always helped people to stop drinking. And it was even recommended in my training that, oh, don't help people moderate. Moderating's impossible. That's always what I've kind of felt. For me, I do feel that for me it would be too hard work. I could probably moderate, but it's not something I want to give any attention to at all. It's not for me. However, I was really open to helping my client with this. I thought, well, let's just try and see and explore with her and see if this is the best thing for her. So we had a few sessions. We got a little kind of ritual together of what she wanted to do, most importantly, why she wanted to do it. And she's had a few sessions, really literally only a few. She didn't need many sessions at all. And amazingly for her, right now in this time now, she is really happy she's doing it. I've heard of other people being able to do this as well. Now, it's not for everyone, but this is just to shine a light on another part of alcohol freedom. To her, she feels in control. She feels free because she is choosing to do that. That to her, okay, her feels good. Now to me, that's not for me, but it is for her. So this has really shown me that yes, I've heard other people can do this too. I've had clients in the past that have done this, not working with me but working after me, and they've kind of found their own way and rhythms with it. That doesn't mean to say that's concrete for them and they won't quit in the end. But you see how it's very, very personal to us. And our job, and what I have had to learn, is to really not judge. And I think in the sober world, in the sober groups, there is so much judgment. And in the past, when I've shared a long time ago, oh, I had a glass of wine, I chose to, I was viciously, like, really attacked by a certain person. And that energy had to go. I had to, unfortunately, block her with love, understanding she was at where she was at. I was clearly triggering her. Now, what I have really learned as I've gone deeper and deeper on my alcohol freedom and sugar freedom journey really is to work with love, neutrality, not judging, and this is such an ongoing journey. always. And how other people are our mirrors. And if they trigger us, we have that opportunity to notice, like, oh my gosh, what she just said. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Now, what has that brought up for me? Now, why do I feel that? And we can do our own inner work on that. Now, I do realise that some of this may not be for you, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. And some of you, you may be seeing things from a different perspective. But what I want this group, all of us, to really understand is that we are all on our soul freedom journey. It's not about the alcohol, it's not about the sugar, it's at that deepest core, it's in our roots, and this is what the Wellness Tree teaches. Sugar freedom to me means, so this is a little bit of my sugar freedom journey. It's different from being sugar free. I did start to be 100% sugar free. I did it for about 6 months, and it was really, really hard work. So the alcohol was like, clearly, no, not for me. I was hanging on to this sugar thing for ages, and so since then I've learnt more of a sugar freedom way. I signed up with a mentor and really understand that actually it's about bringing in some flexibility to our plans and just thinking more like, you know, like a willow tree will just bend. It's having that flexible bark that will go with the flow, will go with the wind. And again, this is really tapping into what feels right for you. What feels right for you might not be what feels right for someone else. So we're all very different, and we have to just be okay with that. It's, yeah, very, very personal. I'm just looking at my notes here. So my sugar freedom plan is I am refined sugar free pretty much most of the time. I do, at the weekends, I will stretch into maybe a piece of bread, maybe some chips, maybe a few ready salted crisps. But the point is, I know what my Sugar Freedom mentor has taught us about edges, finding our edges. And I call it knowing our stretch. So it's almost like having a rubber band mindset, knowing how far we can stretch into our plans, our soul freedom plans, and when to pull ourselves back. I've had clients in the past that, you know, might drink alcohol like once in a blue moon, and they can do that and it's just not a thing for them. And I've had other clients that are like, no, I can't drink any alcohol, it's just not for me. And the same with sugar, we're all at different points. But when we pull these two, alcohol and sugar, whichever one you're working with, maybe it's both, and you're really wanting to create that conscious, intentional lifestyle, when we pull these down into this kind of this thread that runs through us, it's all about soul freedom. Soul freedom. What feels free? What feels good and true and aligned with me? Not should I do? You know, it's very empowering, and we can create our own plans, our own soul freedom plans around that. So, do you understand that? I hope I'm making it clear. The whole point of alcohol freedom, sugar freedom, whatever it is, it's all tied into soul freedom. What feels good to you, to your heart, to your soul? And are you making those choices? Are you allowing yourself to make those choices? How far can you stretch into those choices? And are they helping you to grow? To, you know, does your plan feel flexible? Does it feel like there's some fun in your plan? And are there feel-good rules? Feel-good rules that really hold you and anchor you into your roots. Now, this is where we really start stepping into soul wealth, and what I mean when I'm talking about wealth. Most people will, when you talk about wealth, most people will tie it in with money. And money is just a part of it. Money is a tool, it's a resource that we can use to better ourselves. We need money to create safety, to live, of course. But soul wealth is really about who we are being. It's an internal feeling that we create from the decisions, the actions, the habits and the choices that we're making in our day-to-day life. And this is exactly how the Wellness Tree is set up to support you to really stand in soul wealth. And it's making those empowered choices and knowing that you don't need permission. You're just going to have that piece of cake if you want it, because it's on your sugar freedom plan. It's a day when you said, I'm going to have it, I'm going to enjoy it, and there's no drama, there's no blah blah and like all of this emotional drama that we can stir up. It's just a piece of cake. Now, I couldn't do this. It wasn't that long ago, like last year even, I really struggled with this. I used to have a piece of cake and I'd beat myself up and I'd think, oh my God, sugar's bad, I'm bad, this is awful, and I would end up on this long sort of binge cycle. And then I'd hit the F it button completely and just, go down and just make really rubbish choices, feel terrible. And then it would take all of my energy to get back on track and just, it would just not feel good to me. So I created a plan. And actually it was on the run up to last Christmas when I saw Christmas cakes in the shops, mince pies, and the thing for me, it used to be the icing on the Christmas cake and the marzipan. And I'd almost, like the run up to Christmas, I'd be hanging on and thinking, please don't buy any Christmas cake. It was one of these foods that just, I felt I couldn't resist. And the last few years previously, I'd managed to do it. Christmas was always like, the last few Christmases before that, I could do it. But last Christmas, I was like, and I bought some Christmas cake and I ate all of it and I just felt terrible. And I thought to myself, there we go. I'm never going to change if I don't break this cycle. The other thing that it's taught me is that we need to have a lot of patience. And we need to keep chipping away at this, not quitting, not giving up on our new identity. Keep coming back, keep getting back on track, because every time you do, you're cementing, you're kind of forging the track in the ground, you're rewiring that, building those new neural pathways, you're doing it. We can't see it, but we just have to trust, because one day you will notice, oh, I just feel differently about, like for me, I can have a piece of cake now and again once in a blue moon. There's particular times when I'll let myself have it, and I haven't actually had it for, I haven't had any cake this month apart from a scone, which is it's in my little compartment in my plan. I know when I'm going to do that. But I hold it lightly now. I've lost that emotional thing. So when someone says to me, my coach said to me once, Kath, it's just a piece of cake. I was like, yeah, but you don't understand. It's not like that to me. It's like this. And she must have thought I was just really odd. And now I can see that it is just a piece of cake. It is just a bottle of wine. I wouldn't go and have it, but we can get to this place where we know that it's so much more than that. Wherever you are on your journey, just literally keep going, keep chipping away. But back to soul wealth, that's where we need to be focusing on building soul wealth. Because when we do that, habits with alcohol, with sugar, whatever you're wanting to release, they will naturally fall away. They will naturally lose their power. So when you are practicing things like, so here's what soul wealth is. It's building that inner resilience. It's an internal feeling, which means we need to be okay with sitting with discomfort, feeling that stretch into discomfort. But before we do that, we need to have the awareness of our patterns, of our habits. Like when I was standing in my kitchen years ago, newly sober, I felt this craving and I was like, I could so easily go to the garage and buy some wine. Something stopped me and this voice inside was like, yeah, but you always do that. You know that part of yourself. What happens if you just keep going? You don't know that version of you. And I thought, that's really true. I've got an opportunity here to break this pattern. Just keep going. And so I did. Yes, it was uncomfortable as hell. But what helped is changing my perspective around it, thinking, okay, in this moment, I could make a different choice. I could just do something really nurturing for myself. I recognize I got this craving. I can feel it. I can allow it to pass through. I can make a herbal tea. I can't even remember what I did. This was back in 2016. But yeah, I just sat with it. I worked through it. And I then remember, because I had an accountability partner for ages, and I remember saying, I really want to practice sitting with the void. And what I meant by that was this place that feels really uncomfortable, where we're not numbing and squashing, we're just sitting with, it's very neutral, it's a very neutral place, and we're just observing us. Even like thinking like an eagle, like having that bird's eye view on ourselves, just noticing. And then having a plan, self-care plan, getting out in nature, walking, dancing, connecting. I can't tell you the importance of having a group like this, or even in my paid membership group that I'm setting up, just somewhere where you can connect with others doing a similar journey, and you have that tribe, that connection, that lovely, lovely support. Trees do this as well with their tree roots. They connect their roots and they give. If another tree is like flailing a little bit, the other will nurture. It's nature, and it's what we are. It's so, so important. So having and cultivating really good, nurturing relationships. Also being okay with family members that might not understand what we're doing and think we're completely crazy. And like my husband that used to say to me, oh, you're okay now, just have a glass of wine. Why don't you have a glass of wine? Get it out of your system. And just having blinkers on, ear things in, and just saying, nope, I'm not listening, I'm staying on track. Like this is, it's that building that resilience, isn't it? Just really building that strong, strong trunk. It's also really using our tools, really digging into our roots, holding ourselves strong. And so I just want to talk about when we are wanting to make change. So perhaps you can feel inside a real heart-led, soul-led calling for deep change. And this could be like a complete, I'm thinking of like a complete big lifestyle change. You know that the way that you're living right now, the habits, the choices that you're making just aren't feeling good. Those patterns need to be broken. And we can feel really resistant to this. We can really stay stuck here and dig our heels in. Our inner child comes out, our rebel comes out, and the wine witch is yakking in our ear, and the sugar monster is like sitting on top of our shoulders. Yeah, I've been there so many times. But this comes down to our root one, which is why are we doing this? What's important to us? Are we going to just tune out from all of that noise? It's like, nope, not listening. We have to then put on an invisible cloak of our new identity. So we have to know who we want to be, like how we want life to be different, and wear this cloak, show up as this new identity, and then the behaviours will start to change. So it's like take action, mood follows. When we see the days adding up, when we see like, oh, I just did that weekend without any alcohol, or I just did that weekend and stayed on track with my sugar freedom plan, whatever it is, that gives us confidence, it gives us a boost, we feel good about ourselves. So we're more likely to make even better choices in all of our different life areas, but remembering to keep it small, baby steps. So in this area of stuckness, being resistant to change, can we find a little opening? Think about a hard block of ice. Like, it's going to have to melt for it to run freely, for it to just be released, to find freedom. It needs warmth, maybe sunlight. Like, how can we bring in a little bit of warmth, a little bit of nurture, so that we can take our baby step, we can take our stretch, rubber band mindset, like, where can I stretch to? What one choice can I make today that's a step in the right direction? When we start making these changes, we start to kind of detox. This means that we are being called to let go of what's no longer serving. And this is across all life areas. I'm going to be doing this free soul detox challenge. It's going to be a soul wealth challenge soon. And we're going to be going into this. I'm going to be talking about how to really let go of some of these things. And what this does, it creates space. What our souls are craving now more than anything is space. Space to breathe. To just kind of, just like let go of the tenseness. Breathe into the anxiety and just say, like, it's okay. Whatever happens, it's okay. That's why we need to have our strong roots so we can weather these storms. And then we have this space, we're doing a lot of cleansing our space, our environment, our homes, our mindsets, all kinds. And then we're setting ourselves up with systems, habits, rituals, really simple systems with structure. This is all part of the wellness tree. It's all laid out for us. And these structures help to anchor us into our day so that we are giving time and attention to the things that are really important to us. And some of those things are things obviously that we have to show up for, like being a wife, being a mum, being a business owner, whatever the thing, your work, whatever. Basic self-care needs. Imagine if all of that was calendarized, if you were notified of where you needed to be, everything, even down to like bins go out on a Thursday. How many times I forget to put my bin out and it is so annoying. But what if everything was calendared right to the minutest detail, all of your self-care habits, popping things like prescriptions to the doctors or calling your hairdresser. Like, how many things do you think of every day? It's like, oh, I need to do that. Oh, I must do that. I must clear out that cupboard. Oh, God, I need to get on top of my paperwork. I need to pay the bills. I need to phone my friend. Oh, my gosh. And there's all of these things. This is what I love to help with, is just getting organised. But to do this, we need to eliminate all of the busy stuff, all of the stuff that doesn't need to be there, all of the things you said yes to because you felt bad, because you're a people pleaser, like I can be. And you said yes to these things and you're like, why the hell did I say yes? Why can't I say no? And when we say no, it's a no with like, no, because I know that this is important to me. I need to stay on track, and we can say no with love. This is inspiring to others as well, because it teaches them like, oh, I can say no. Yes, you can. You can. So then we end up with stepping into the new, so wearing your cloak, your new identity, even creating, like maybe you're a really visual person like me, you have this image of yourself, how you would love to look, how you would love to feel, how you would love your environment to be. Is it really messy and you just want to get rid of things and you want a nice, clean, streamlined environment? And imagine how the energy can then kind of just freely go. And this has an effect on our minds mentally. Something else I just want to mention is when we stop drinking, very often we can feel like, now what do I do? Who am I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do instead of drinking. If drinking's been a daily habit, for example, that nightly glass of wine, we don't know how to do self-care. We don't actually know how to nourish ourselves. Or if we have an idea, it all feels like too much hard work, yeah? But what can really, really help is just things like, so I was very much following the breadcrumbs, and I wanted to learn about things as well. So learning things, taking up a new hobby, crochet. I crocheted a blanket. I only just learned a few stitches, but I crocheted a blanket in my first year sober. Because it kept my hands busy, it gave me something to do. But I think the most confusing thing is just knowing who we actually are. And this is the whole journey, coming home to ourselves. So it's leaving that life of busyness, distraction, numbing out, and it's getting conscious. It's making the decisions, the choices that align with us. So knowing who you are at that soul level, and this is the deeper work that I've been going into, and I've recently qualified as a soul energetics practitioner, so I've learnt about human design, numerology, all the kind of cosmic things, wrapping it up into soul energetics, which came from my mentor Kelly Vikings. And now I can actually do soul energetic reports for people which just show you kind of who you are at this soul level, and just understanding your numbers and how to work with them. And it's a really lovely guide, and I wish I'd known about this earlier on in my journey, but I guess I had to go through all of that stuff and all of the messiness and the kind of the frustration and everything. But this is what happens. This is what happens. We do the hard things, yes, imperfectly, and they lead to new opportunities, meeting new people on our paths. Like, there's so much. Biggest tips and takeaways that I want to leave you with. The first one is really drumming it home, drumming it. So imagine like banging your drum, feet planted firmly like warrior footsteps forward. This is who I am, right? We can so often not make the choices we want to make, like staying sober on a night out, for example, because we're worried about what people would think. We're worried about being excluded, or I can't think of the word, like when, you know, abandoned, just got rid of. So what? It's a lonely path. It's one that we choose and not many other people would, which is why we need community. Pick the path that lights you up the most, your soul freedom path, with your soul freedom plan, however that looks for you. You determine how you want to live. We can all do that. We then need to like be in it, be empowered with it. Bang that drum, walk with your warrior, heavy footsteps, like dust coming off the ground, like this is who I am. Really standing in your power, really owning it, really embracing the messiness, being okay with not knowing who you are, where you're going, into the unknown, feeling like you're being thrown into the den with the tigers. It's not like that, but can we be okay with not knowing? Because then it's our lessons, it's our teaching, it's us trying things, experimenting, exploring. That's why I love to call this an adventure. It is. The journey home is an adventure. And we all get to do it together as part of a community. Now, there's a lot in this video, but what I do, I set up a lovely, gorgeous, brand new membership. It's a very, very low cost membership, literally just £27 a month. I've got a special offer on that. Message me if you're interested, because what I'm going to do is in this Soul Wealth circle, it's a gorgeous sister circle, and we're going to go into the wellness tree, into the teachings in a lot more detail. And it's going to be lovely because we'll be coming together as a group on a Zoom call. There'll be Facebook Live trainings. There'll be other things in there as well. But really working at this deeper rooted level. So if you're really wanting to break these patterns, if you're wanting to break the cycles, meet new people, do it together, really being able to talk about what's going on for you as well, rather than having to keep it all in and having to feel like there's something wrong with you and hiding and no. I'm here to bring us together, to talk about this stuff, to heal it, to give it some love. That, you know, there's parts of us that are just crying out to be heard, to be listened to. And when we understand how to give to those parts, how to work with those parts, bringing back all these pieces of our soul, this is the journey home. This is how we really can then feel more into our soul freedom and our soul wealth. Now, any questions at all, please feel free to send me a private message. If you want clarity on anything, so happy to do that. If you want any free tools, resources, if you just want to say hi, if you want to connect with me, send me a private message, drop a comment into the group. Thank you for being here, and join me every Tuesday, this time every Tuesday, for the Soul Wealth Show. And remember, wherever you are on your journey, wherever you are is exactly where you're meant to be. Gather the lessons, learn patience, resilience, dig in, connect with your wellness tree. I've actually got a free, it's in the guide section, in guide 1, your introduction to your wellness tree guide, so you can really start to learn about the tree, about living the kind of wellness tree lifestyle if that's calling to you. And of course you can come and work with me in a deeper way too. Sending so much love. Thank you for watching and catching up on the replay later. See you all again soon.